Earlier this year, Barbara, my wife, who was in the audience, and I were invited to Toulouse in France, where we have good friends who are there on the faculty, and our friends had mounted a meeting, a kind of convention on the subject of mountains, because they are very close to the Pyrenees. And so we went and had a delightful time in France. We love to go to France. And we had not been in the Pyrenees themselves. We had been very close. But this time, during the conference, we went up into the mountains, and they were truly magnificent. It was misty, and the mountains were, you know, wonderfully rough and haunting. So we enjoyed that. I wrote a poem for that occasion called "To the Mountain Spirits." Spirits of the mountains, lead me again into your fastnesses. Lead me on the worn paths of my fathers, among the firs and pines. Lead me. I have been too much removed from you. I have become little and alone. Until now, and poor in my vision, the mountains are dim in the distance of my years. I would come again into your fastnesses. I would breathe the cold air of the summits. I would lay my voice above the high valleys. I would recover my lost dreams. Lead me. Spirits of the mountains, let me hear your windy songs. Let me touch the sun that shivers in the lakes, where your chants shake thunder down. Let me enter the cool, soft-scented hollows, the caverns of shade in which you whisper. Lead me along the moonlit meadows. Lead me along ridges of dawn and dusk. At noon, be for me the soul of silence. The mountains loom. I am touched with wonder. Along the slopes, eagles wheel and coil the air. Lions lie in the tangle of leaves and limbs. All day there is the middle of morning. Brilliant, redolent, everlastingly beautiful. Spirits of the mountains, heal me. Lead me again into your green fastnesses. I would ascend among your voices. Lead me. You never know what experience is going to lead you to the writing of a poem. It happens all the time, you know, with me. I think you get used to it. It's a kind of training of the self. You write enough poetry and you begin to see things that you would not ordinarily see. You train your eye and your ear to in a certain way, and the outcome is a poem. And as I say, you never know when or where this is going to happen. Again, in this time in Spain, Barbara and I had the opportunity to visit the Altamira Caves in the north of Spain, and it turned out to be one of the most profound experiences of our lives. We went into a museum first, kind of place where you start the journey into the cave. And there they had a collection of ancient things, bits of shell, for example, which the ancient artists had used to mix their paints. And so you still saw some of the pigment in the shells. It was quite wonderful. And on that morning, it was raining. And we went we went there and we met our guide. We were limited to five of us could go in, and that's all. And we had a native guide, a Spanish-speaking man who had a flashlight, and you know, after some time, he said, "All right, it's time, follow me," and he led us from the museum down a winding path to the side of the hill, and in that hillside was a green door, a green metal door, and the door was open, and we went single file into the hill, into the cave, as it were. And I had the impression that I was passing from time into timelessness, and I still feel that way about this particular experience. As we were going through the dark paths of the cave, the guide was holding the flashlight, and occasionally he would show us something on the side of a wall. It would be a monochromatic painting of an animal. And most of these were fairly small. They were like a foot or a foot and a half high. But as we went on, you know, the paintings got a little bit larger. They were still monochromatic, black on rock, kind of gray or reddish. And then we came to the great room of Altamira, which is sometimes called the Sistine Chapel of Prehistoric Art. And this is a large room, and the paintings are on the ceiling, and they are all of the figures are animals, and they are very peaceful. They are grazing. Some of them are supine, and they are wonderful works of art. Wonderful works of art, and the artist has made use of the texture of the rock and the promontories. Not quite the right word, but where the rock sticks out. He made that the haunch of an animal, say, and so you have a three-dimensional aspect to these paintings. Now they are 17,000 years old, and there they are. And while we were in the great room, the guide had the electric lights, which were sort of at the base of the room, at the base of the walls, turned out. And he turned off his torch, his flashlight. And there was a darkness you cannot imagine. Absolute black. Could not see your hand in front of your face. Then he turned his torch on, and he began to play it upon the animals on the ceiling. And it was a very strange sensation to see these things which had existed in darkness for 17,000 years. And at one point, he put his fingers across the lens of the torch and moved them back and forth, and the animals moved. It was fascinating. And we came out of there dumbfounded. It was a time before we could speak. We went to the car, and we sat in the car, and still we couldn't speak for a long time. And then we began to try and express what had just happened to us. And it was not easy to do. It was a profound experience. And we must have sat there for an hour, just trying to understand what we had seen, where we had been. It was just the most marvelous experience. Well, here is a poem called The Artist of Altamira. Another day, the seasons turned, the weather burned, I walked in testaments of ancient time. Another year, the torches blazed, the bison grazed, I dwelt in artistry and paradigm. Another age, and darkness rose, and in repose my animals remained, rude and sublime. That's it.